Greetings, MBAP 518 International Business Students, Section 1 online, Summer 2023. This is Dr. Jaros, and I will be providing you with a video explanation of how I graded exam number 1. So let's take a look at the questions. Number 1, what kind of strategy and structure has United Cereal historically employed in Europe? Has this helped or hurt its competitiveness there? Explain. Well, first of all, United Cereal is in what is known as a multinational industry, and they are employing a multinational strategy, which basically means that the local country managers in the European countries are given lots of autonomy and authority by company headquarters to craft specialized policies and procedures for their markets without much headquarters interference. So they're basically left to their own devices in terms of how they run their country units. Has this helped or hurt competitiveness? Well, it has produced mixed results. On the one hand, the multinational strategy and structure has unleashed a lot of entrepreneurial creativity in each country, allowing each unit within the company in Europe to penetrate the market. But on the other hand, it has resulted in a high cost structure due to the making and marketing of many different kinds of specialized products in the different countries. And it is made developing a pan-European brand, like the juice that they tried to develop, and now the healthy berry cereal, difficult because country managers run each of their operations like a local fiefdom and have pushed back against headquarters and headquarters' efforts to develop a pan-European brand. All right, let's look at question number 2. If a global company is facing a market in which pressures for local responsiveness and innovation are low, but pressures for integration are high, what kind of industry is it operating in? What kind of strategy should it pursue? Explain. Well, it's operating in a global industry because that's the definition of a global industry as provided by our readings. A global industry is an industry in which pressures for innovation and local responsiveness are low, but pressures for integration and standardization are high. The strategy it should pursue is a global strategy. And a global strategy involves integrating and concentrating key business functions such as research and development, marketing, and production in one country. So like we have our R&D, production, and marketing all in one single country. And then the way we service the globe is by exporting. We make our products in one country and then export them to all the countries around the world that we're trying to sell in. This allows us to economize on our operations because keeping costs low is the prime directive in a global industry. So we achieve economies of scale this way. All right, let's look at question number 3. Describe the kinds of distance that may characterize countries. If a company is thinking about expanding to a foreign country and does not take into account the different ways that countries can be distant from each other, what mistakes might it make? Give an example from the article we read on this. Well, the 4 kinds of distance that are described are cultural, administrative, economic, and geographic. Cultural distance refers to differences across countries in terms of things like norms, values, language, and religion. Okay. Administrative distance refers to political differences across countries. Like one country might be a democracy and another country might be a theocracy, or another country might be a dictatorship. Okay. Economic distance refers to how differences in how wealthy countries are. For example, the United States might be a rich country, whereas Mexico might be a poor country. And then finally, of course, there's geographic distance, which is how we typically think about distance, which is simply how many miles how many miles two countries are separated by. For example, regarding Canada and Mexico, well, the USA borders those countries, so there's no real geographic distance between us at all. On the other hand, China, is 10,000 miles away across the Pacific Ocean. What the article emphasizes is that the capital portfolio analysis shows us that if we do not adjust for distance factors, then we could make serious mistakes in terms of the countries we choose to try to operate in. For example, when it comes to TRI, a fast food organization, a CPA analysis without factoring in distance shows that countries like Japan and Germany, I believe Germany, are good countries to operate in. But once we factor distance into the equation, those countries recede, and Canada and Mexico are ranked number 1 and number 2 in terms of the countries that we should expand to. You could also have given the example of Star TV and their attempt to broadcast English language programs in Asia, which did not go over well with consumers there. Finally, question number 4. What challenges is the IMAX Corporation facing that are causing it to consider expanding to the BRIC or BRIC countries? Which one should it invest in first? Explain. IMAX is facing 2 major challenges as of the time of the case. First of all, demand for ticket sales in the USA and Canada, its main markets, are flat. There's only been 1% growth recently in those markets. And that's a problem for IMAX because it's trying to reach a goal of being a $1 billion a year company, so it's seeking to grow its revenues, and it's harder to grow revenues when movie ticket sales are flat. Also, they are experiencing increased pressure from the movie theater chains that they operate in. Other movie theater chains have decided, or several movie theater chains have decided to develop their own large screen format or PLF systems rather than license the IMAX system. So basically these movie chains are developing their own PLF systems and that are competing with IMAX for the movie going public, both of which are putting downward pressure on IMAX profits. So they are looking for greener pastures, and the BRIC countries look like greener pastures. Okay. Now you could have selected any of the 4 BRIC countries, which are Brazil, Russia, India, or China, and I didn't deduct any points as long as you made a reasonable case for why you think that particular country is best. Okay. This was my explanation for how I graded your exam, what I was looking for. If you failed to say things that were important, that I believed you should have said in your answer, then there were deductions. Or if you said things that were incorrect, then there were deductions. Hope this was helpful.